Deep within the forgotten maritime archives of the Victorian Royal Navy lies a dark structural disaster born from absolute hubris. September 1870, the absolute pinnacle of British imperial engineering, the experimental ironclad HMS Captain, cuts aggressively through the ocean's surface. She is an unprecedented maritime machine, designed to merge two entirely conflicting philosophies of naval warfare. On her lower deck layout, she carries massive revolving twin-gun turret structures capable of firing devastating salvos in any direction. But to save coal, the design demands a full sailing rig layout, boasting three towering iron mast structures that hold an immense array of white canvas sails. On the distant landmass, a tiny stone lighthouse model and an administrative fort block watch the ship's path, while a small horse-drawn carriage model moves slowly along a gravel coastal road layout. The world watches in total awe, believing this iron titan is completely invincible, unaware that its very design is a self-destructive liability. But beneath the surface beauty of the armor-plated hull lies an unprecedented engineering blunder. The designer, Captain Cowper Coles, made a fatal miscalculation regarding the vessel's physical weight distribution. When the heavy iron plating, the massive gun systems, and the coal fuel bunkers were fully loaded, the entire ship sat far deeper in the waterline than ever intended. This created a terrifying structural anomaly known as a low freeboard hull, leaving a mere 6 feet of clearance between the open sea grid and the ship's main deck rails. Standing on the bridge structure, a technician holding a brass sextant apparatus model adjusts his calculations while a captain figure gestures toward a small mechanical iron telegraph lever on the console. Nearby, a specialized steam-driven winch assembly tool sits idle on the wood planks. The ship's stability graph table is a math trap. If the vessel heels over too far, the deck rails will submerge under the water, destroying its ability to right itself. The calendar flips to midnight on September 7th as the experimental squadron moves through the treacherous waters of Cape Finisterre. An abrupt climate anomaly brings a sudden, localized squall across the sea channels. The air currents accelerate rapidly, striking the massive sail canvas layout at a dangerous angle. On the trailing escort warship, HMS Monarch, the crew watches through a heavy metal maritime telescope unit, tracking the flagship's erratic trajectory. Instead of furling the sails to reduce the immense wind pressure, the bridge crew keeps the canvas fully deployed, adhering blindly to the sailing schedule. The force of the wind acts on the tall iron masts like a giant lever, pushing the flagship over at a severe 15-degree angle. On deck, a wooden storage chest model slides loose, smashing into an iron anchor winch chain housing as the low sea wall surges over the subdeck rails. As the low deck rails submerge completely, the structural failure transitions into a terrifying internal nightmare. The seawater cascades over the open gun ports, breaking through the fragile canvas weather screens and flooding the interior galleries. The deluge pours straight down into the primary steam boiler rooms and the lower engine spaces. Thick, choking clouds of white escaping steam erupt instantly as cold water contacts the superheated iron furnace blocks. The main coal-fired dynamo short-circuit, plunging the engineering hub into absolute darkness. Trapped engineers frantically struggle to turn a heavy manual bilge pump wheel model, trying to engage the primitive suction loop pipelines. But the capacity of the drainage system is completely overwhelmed, and a major electrical control panel unit sparks violently, knocking out all primary illumination networks. The weight of the water inside the flooded lower hull shifts completely to one side, passing the final stability index limit. With a deep iron groan, the HMS Captain rolls completely upside down, turning turtle in the dark waves. The towering iron masts and heavy sail layouts act like underwater nets, trapping the vessel under the surface and dragging it downward. On the inverted keel structure, a tiny bronze screw propeller assembly model spins empty in the air, while a rudder control linkage block snaps under the dynamic force. A small steam pinnace launch vessel model breaks free from its storage deck davits, crashing upside down into the swirling vortex. The massive flagship becomes an inescapable metal containment vessel, disappearing into the translucent depths in less than 5 minutes. As the early morning light breaks over the Spanish coast, a scene of absolute devastation is revealed across the water layout. The flagship has vanished, leaving only a massive debris field stretching for miles. Trailing rescue cutters launched from the surviving ships navigate through the black slicks, searching the coordinates for any sign of life. They encounter a field of floating wreckage consisting of shattered wooden rowboats, loose cork lifebuoy rings, and broken wooden spar pieces. A lone canvas sailboat layout from a local fishing port drifts near the exclusion zone. its crew staring at a thick black column of coal smoke rising from the vortex site. Only 18 survivors managed to cling to a single overturned launch hull, a bizarre survival paradox in the wake of the Empire's ultimate engineering failure. The total collapse of the HMS Captain brings an end to the maritime crisis, but unleashes a monumental corporate catastrophe within the British Admiralty. A highly publicized court-martial tribunal is convened inside an administrative palace block to uncover the technical chain reaction behind the catastrophe. The legal counsel reviews the engineering blueprints, the signal logs, and the declassified stability index data. The final liability verdict places overwhelming blame on the design board, exposing a pride-driven military culture that completely ignored scientific warnings to protect political reputations. The site of the wreck remains a silent, watery vault off Cape Finisterre, a dark milestone that completely overthrew Victorian ship design and forced the Royal Military to rewrite the mathematical laws of naval architecture forever.